Welcome back everyone. In this video we'll be replacing the brakes on the Apollo Phantom. The tools you'll need for this job are a battery drill, a 4mm bit, some flush cutters, 5 and a 4mm Allen key, a 19mm wrench, and some long nose pliers. So the first thing we'll want to do is take our 5mm Allen key and remove the caliper. We're going to loosen these two screws right here, just like this. Now I'm going to take my battery drill and remove them completely. We can let that hang to the side for now. We're now going to take our 19mm wrench and loosen the wheel nuts. As always, we want to hold the wheel while we're doing this to not have it fall out. Now that we have the two wheel nuts off, we can then take the lock rings out on the other side too. And we can then gently pull our wheel from the forks. We can then remove our fender and lay the wheel on the side. Now before removing the brake disc, we want to pull this washer off and then take our 4mm Allen key to loosen the 6 screws. I'm now going to take my drill with a 4mm bit to remove them all. And there we go. We can now get our new brake disc and install it on. Taking our new brake disc, we can see our arrow doesn't match the one on the tire. So we'll just have to flip the disc over, and just like this, we're in the correct position. Now before reinstalling our screws, we're going to apply a little bit of blue Loctite. Now it doesn't take much to make a difference, but it is going to hold the screw over the long term. We just want to start it off like this, and we want to screw them in a star pattern. We can then torque them down all the way. We don't want them too tight because that's going to warp our brake disc, but we don't want them falling out either. We can now wipe away any excess Loctite we have on the disc, and that should do it. Now the next step in the brake replacement will be to install new brake pads. So first we're going to take our long nose pliers and remove the pin. And we can then pull the brake pads out of the top, just like this. There we go. We can now take our new brake pads. So we're now going to take our flush cutters to cut the zip tie. Make sure to not lose the pin. We can now remove our brake pads from the bracket one at a time and install them back into our caliper. There we go. We can now take our new pin and insert it in between the caliper and the brake pads so everything is secure. We can now take our long nose pliers and bend and as we can see, our pin is now secure. Now we can let our caliper hang and reinstall our wheel. Now to reinstall the wheel, we're going to put the fender back on, just like this, and reinsert our washer. We can now slide the shaft back into the forks, just like this. And of course, while holding the wheel, we can put our lock ring and wheel nut back on. Same thing on the other side. After we make sure both sides are secure, we can adjust our fender and then take our 19mm wrench to tighten the wheel nuts. Same thing on the other side. And of course, while we're tightening, we want to hold the fork to keep the scooter in place. Now we want to install the caliper behind the bracket and make sure the two pads are on each side of the disc. That should be the perfect place. We can now reinstall our two caliper screws, and we can then tighten them in their place. There we go. We can now perform a brake adjustment. As we can see, it is rubbing a bit, so we will adjust it to the perfect position. Now to quickly adjust your brake, we just need to adjust the lever right here. So we're going to take our 5mm Allen key and loosen this up so we can adjust our caliper properly. Now as we can see, there's no rubbing on the brake pads. And when we pull the brake handle, our brake is nice and tight. And that's how you perform a brake replacement on the Apollo Phantom.